Good morning, everyone. We're excited for you to be joining us for our second webinar for Edcite Schools administrators. My name is Julia Sweeney. I'm Director of Sales, and today we're going to be focusing on reports and leveraging data.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I work with some of our Edcite Schools customers and help out with our marketing efforts, and I'm a former teacher.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the camera and we'll just dive into the reports. So we're going to demo from our demo account, the go figure. So this is Albus Dumbledore's admin account, and all of the student data is fake. Just a quick reminder that we're recording this webinar, so just keep that in mind if you turn on video or ask questions. Okay, so from our admin account, we access reports from the Reports Hub, and that's located in the Assignments dropdown. We are going to the Reports Hub. Perfect. And this is going to show you all of the data and assessments that have been given in your district as common assessments. And so on Edcite Schools, there are two pathways to give common assessments. There are district distributed common assessments, and there are teacher assigned common assessments. And the real distinction between those is who is scheduling it. So a district distributed common assessment is scheduled, it is distributed by your Edcite Schools administrators. If it is in the teacher assigned category, that means that teachers are scheduling it themselves, and that goes through the pathway of I mark something as a common assessment, I share it into an Edcite Schools folder, and then teachers assign it themselves. So there's pros and cons to both approaches. We're going to talk about the teacher assigned first. One of the challenges with teacher assigned is that you are giving control over the actual scheduling to teachers, which is a positive thing because they know their schedules so well and they can work it in to their curriculum plans. But sometimes you want to have a clear view of who has scheduled, when they have scheduled, when they have taken it. So I want to talk about how to manage the process for a teacher assigned common assessment. So in this Reports Hub, you can checkbox the common assessment you want to look at. So let's checkbox 8.1 EOM. And then if you scroll down the page, you're going to see a plethora of reports. For monitoring the actual assignment process and where people are, we're going to use the Master Assignment Report, which is that second one right there. Perfect. And in here, if you scroll down a bit, you're going to see the top table says distribution, start date, end date, number of assigned, number of submissions. That, because we're going the teacher assigned route, I'm not going to pay much attention to that. I'm going to focus on the second table, which says common assignment. Now here, I can see every single teacher that has copied that common assessment. I can see how many students they have assigned it to, and I can see the number of submissions. Now, if I look at this report though, it looks awful right now because there are so many duplicates. Like Emerson had a bunch, Julian has a ton. And so I want to highlight, if you see this happening on your master assignment report, there's a way to clean this up. And again, because it's the teacher assigned route, a lot of it is going to be on the teacher to get done. So real quick, let's toggle over to Emerson's account. So this is Emerson's teacher account. And, you know, they've got all of the menus and toggles at the top. Right now, we're looking at their My Assignments page, which is located in their content menu. So teachers, when they go to their accounts, they can go content, My Assignments, and it will bring them to this page. And so I can go in here to see all of my duplicates for 8.1 EOM. So if you go up to the filter at the top and you type in 8.1 EOM, I can see in my, whoops, you can probably just keep 8.1 and then I think there's a space, but we'll just go with this. So there's a status next to each of the assignment names, kind of on the right side of the table. And I can see, okay, 0 out of 0, 0 out of 0. All of those 0 out of 0s can be removed. I can see that the 11 out of 121 is active and actually has been assigned to students. So let's checkbox the ones that say 0 out of 0. So we can checkbox those. We can go up to the very top and we can delete those. Are you sure you want to delete that? Yes. And so that starts to clean up the process. Okay, man, Emerson had a lot of duplicates, but let's just leave those ones in there with the one assigned. So now if we go back to that admin account, so we toggle back over and we refresh the page, Emerson has fewer, so he doesn't have any rows that that have a 0 in it. So everything that's showing up in this report reflects that teacher actually assigning to students. So this is a report, again, just to help you manage the process to make sure teachers are assigning and you can troubleshoot. For example, if I see that 31 students, 33 students have been assigned and our window that we gave teachers was yesterday and they don't have any submissions, I can go and speak with that teacher and talk about, hey, we need to get this done, what's going on? So it's all about how do we leverage these reports to prompt our action. Okay, so let's say that everyone's given their report, we're good to go. So we can leave this master assignment report. Perfect. And we want to start looking at data. Now, for this portion, we're actually going to toggle over to the district distributed section because many of the reports are the same. So for the district distributed, and let's go ahead and find I want us to look at a particular one. I think it's the grade 5. Pull up the right one. Grade 5, Unit 1 test. Oh, perfect. There we go. And if we scroll down, the first one I want to talk about is the dynamic report. Perfect. So the dynamic report is great for getting data quickly and creating student groups. So let's say I, as an administrator, just want a quick view of how Hogwarts did on this assessment. If I hover over the school column marked H, so H for Hufflepuff, my bad. Hufflepuff, I can see the scores reflected in the pie chart and also in the table. And depending on the zoom of your screen, sometimes that table will actually appear on the right side of the pie chart. And if we hover over Gryffindor, you'll see the pie chart adjusts. And if we look at Slytherin, so this gives you information quickly. If, let's say, we wanted to see data, I want to know what's the distribution of my highest performing students. I could hover over the pie chart on the green, and it's going to show me the number of students at each school performing in that level. If I hover over the red, it's going to show me. So if I saw a dramatic difference, let's say I had 100 in the red in Slytherin, that would prompt me as a district administrator to go and talk with that campus and figure out what we can be doing to better support them. Let's say that I'm wearing my principal hat or my department chair hat, and I'm looking at data. Instead of by school, we're looking at this by class or by teacher. I want to highlight the create group option. So on the left side of the page, you have different filters. So you can filter by a particular class. You can filter by a particular performance level. So let's scroll to the very bottom and let's select everyone that's performing under a 50. So we'll do 25 to 50, under 25. And then if we scroll up, it would show me the number per class, or in this specific example, per school in the bar charts. And then I could actually create a student group. So that green button on the right side of the page, create group. And let's say this was our grade 5 reading test. I could say grade 5 reading intervention group. And maybe this is a group that we are going to spend additional time with this Friday. Maybe there's a study hall period. The 4 teachers are going to each take a section of students, and we're going to work on this and then track their progress next week to see if our intervention impacted their growth. So then you'd press OK, and it would create that group of students. Okay, so moving right along to another report. So we can get out of this distributions overview. Perfect. So then we want to look at the performance band report. I think this is a really cool report. So if you click the customize button, what's nice about this performance band report is that you have full control over the colors and the settings. So let's say I want to see all of the standards that were assessed in this grade 5 unit 1 test. On the right side, I've got a table of all of the standards from this test. And I can, right now they're all selected. So let's go ahead and let's pick 4. So let's deselect a couple of them. You can deselect, you could use them all, you know, depending on what you're targeting. I can go to the tab that says select classes and students. And this will list out all of the classes that took this. If I needed to pull a report on a particular subset of students from a class, and I didn't want to use the group report, I wanted to use this report to customize the colors, there's also that red button in each column, or in the far right column that says select students, and that allows you to even further select, I just want these 5 out of 30 students from Hunter's class. So once you've got everything selected that you want, and it's going to go ahead and save your default, so you don't have to do this every time, you can go to the display settings. And I've got right now 4 categories: meeting standard, approaching standard, below standard, and far below. Let's go ahead and make the approaching standard from 65 to 75, and below standard 51 to 64. So you can go in, you can edit these. If you wanted to add a row, we could use that little green plus sign. We could say very far below, and then we could make that maybe 0 to 20 and 21 to 50. So we could go through, we can do all of this. Great. And let's change that last color. So you change a color by clicking on that box, and let's make it red. Perfect. And then if we click generate report, I think this is the core report, it's going to color code all of my classes based on their performance on each standard. So I can see that, you know, 5.NBT.B5 is something that across all of our campuses all of our classes we're really struggling. But let's say I see that Vance, one of the pink boxes, Vance 5, like Gavin Vance, let's say one of them is doing well and I want to like deeper look into it. If I click on that teacher's class name, it's going to open up the performance by individual student. And so I can start to look through there and see what's going on. Our demo data is pretty like you either got it right or you got it wrong. And then if I wanted to, we're not going to do this right now, but you could actually then click on each individual student's name and it would pull up their actual submission and show you their report. So that is our customizable report. What I also like about this one, if you scroll to the very bottom, you can also export this data to CSV or copy to clipboard. So you can, get all of your students in one list. Nicole, if we toggle back to the distribution report, previous screen, and if you scroll to the very top, let's say you wanted to do a mass upload for every student that did this test. If you click that green button that says individual distribution report, it's going to make the rows every single student that took the test instead of one class at a time. So this would be useful if you were trying to export all student data by standard and you were going to import it into maybe your gradebook or student information system. Okay, great. So let's head back into the Reports Hub. Perfect. Now the other report I want to highlight before we open it up to some questions is the Math Coherence report. So you can tell that there are a good number of reports on this page, and at the end we can just go through and describe what each of them do. If we toggle over to the Math Standards map, this one's pretty sweet. So you could select your date ranges. We'll just leave those as is. So just press next. And sometimes if you're crunching a lot of data, I will tell you it takes a while to generate the report. So for the sake of time, we're going to deselect everything from both tables and just select grades in our distribution table, 5, 6, and 7, the top 3, just to make it easy. Perfect. So if we scroll down and we click Build Mapping, it's going to give us a view of how many students have mastered standards for that grade level. So if you click on, at the very top, you're going to see a little green settings here. This is where you can control what you want the performance cutoff to be. Let's say you want to know what are the number of students performing at an 80%. You could drag that little option up or down to set it to a different, perfect. If we went to like 80, you can see the colors are adjusting a bit. And so then you can click the settings here to close that little report out. And just a quick toggle at the very top, also you've got this all or assignment. So if you toggle over to all, it's going to show you that this report is available for K through, it's available for all of your grade levels. But again, we're just focusing on 5th, 6th, and 7th. Okay, perfect. So you can see on the 5th grade card, we only selected assignments that assessed 2 standards, but you can see there are 5 domains total on there. And so on the card, the little circles are giving you a preview into the next level. So sorry, they're not standards in those circles, they are domains for math. So if I'm looking at 5th grade, I can see, I think that's we'll click to look. So if you click on 5th grade, it's going to allow you to dive deeper. So numbers and operations in base 10. Okay, great. So as I said before, your circles in your cards are giving you a preview of the next level. So these are actually talking about what are all the different standards within that domain and how are students performing. So if we look at the number and operations functions, I can see a dark green under B3 and a light green under B6. So let's say I want to dive deeper into that. If I click on that card, it is going to tell me all of the standards in that domain And this is probably where you want to toggle to assignment. So you're only seeing the ones that are actually have been submitted by students. Great. So I can see the number of students in each performance level for that standard. And I can choose to view this data by a pie chart or by a bar chart. What's nice also is that if I'm looking at that bar chart, let's say, or the pie chart, which is either one, when I click on the student count or when I click on the bar chart, like that individual bar, so if you have to click on the student count or the bar, you can actually see a list of all of the students in that performance level, and you can create a student group here as well. So if you are going to be doing remediation for 5 NFB3, you can go ahead and say, hey, like let's create a student group of students that have already mastered this, and we'll send them some more rigorous material. So let's say we create our student group. We're going to be doing some intervention or acceleration with our students. The question that always comes up is, well, what type of content do I use? If I'm remediating an 8th grade skill, how do I know what the foundational set of problems looked like at 2nd grade, at 3rd grade? And so this is where we leverage the Achieve the Core Math Coherence map, which is Creative Commons and is awesome. So if we scroll down slightly, you're going to see an orange button that says Map Standard. And this is going to actually tell you which standards lead to which. So if we press next, I'm just giving you some general directions. If I'm looking at this 5 NFB3, and let's say I want something to push my students that have really mastered this already, and I want to look at, well, what does this skill look like in 6th grade? I can go ahead and click over into on the right side of the page, there is, so it's like the line is like up on, yep, that one, perfect. So if I click on that, it's going to show me, okay, so the next, so we can scroll down slightly, it'll show me what the actual standard is that builds on that 5th grade standard. And I can click on that example tab, and it's going to show me an Achieve the Core sample item. So it gives me an example of what a task looks like at that level, and it actually gives me the solution. So I find that this is really helpful for teachers, not just creating student groups and saying, we are going to intervene and do something about this skill, but actually helps us as educators wrap our minds around, well, what did come first and what comes next? So just like we did this at 6th grade, we could toggle back to some of the 4th grade skills. So let's just like click one of the skills on the left side of the page, and it will just kind of show an example. So this would be a 4th grade one, measurement and data. You can get lost in this fabulous like web of standards, but it is really interesting to take some time to see how everything fits. So we've got about 4 minutes left. These 30-minute webinars go by very quickly. I'd love to get any questions. If people want to type in any questions, please. Can I see data for individual teachers? That is a great question. So the answer is no. So the question is, can I see data for individual teachers if the assignment was not a common assessment? So on Edcite, marking something as a common assessment is what shares it into the admin accounts. The other option is to do the district distribution where you're pushing content out. But we're definitely open to feedback if you have an idea of, oh, I'd like to be able to request data from a teacher, or if there's a particular pathway that you think would be helpful, please, feel free to send that over to us. But as of right now, something has to be a common assessment, either district distributed or teacher assigned. Good question. Okay, great. Any other questions? Is there a way to see what teachers at certain grade level content areas haven't assigned a teacher assigned common assessment? So that's where I would toggle back to. So if we go to the teacher assigned tab and we go to that 8.1 EOM again, perfect. And we can look at the master assignment report. So this is the report that's going to give you the most visibility into what people have assigned for their common assessments. One area that I'm gathering from your question is that you might want to be able to see multiple assignments, not just the one at a time, to assess who has assigned it and who has not. But assignment by assignment, your master assignment report is going to give you visibility into who has assigned it, but it does not explicitly tell you who has not assigned it. But that might be something we could add. So maybe something where, two-part question, okay, great. A, can building level sub-admins be created from the admin account? And B, can the sub-admins see their building common assessment data? Great question. So for sub-admins, so building level admins, can building be created from the admin account? Yes, so there's actually a being tested version that we've given to a few districts that wanted to set up their own sub-admins. So we can go ahead and send that over to your school as well. So we can send that over to your school, but we also are able to just set that up. So thus far, except for the couple accounts we've given this tool to, if you just send us who your sub-admins need to be, we can set that up. And then they are able to see building level data for their common assessments. But I'll follow up with you directly. We'll give you the tool, and we'd love to get your feedback on how the tool works for setting it up yourself. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you to everyone for joining us and for everyone for watching this, and looking forward to talking soon.
Thank you, and we'll send the recording out to all of you. Feel free to share it out to your colleagues. And if you have any questions, reach out to us at schoolshelp@edcite.com.
Great. See ya.
Thank you.